Assalamu alaikum students. I hope everyone is fine. This is your English class and today we are going to continue with unit number 7 but lesson number 5. And your lesson name is Wangari Maathai and also called Mama Trees. So that is a comprehension. We are going to read that comprehension and we're going to answer a few of the questions. First of all, I am giving you a small idea of what is this lesson about. It is comprised of page from 89 to 101, and the summary of this lesson is that it is a true story of someone's life. This is the biography of a woman. She lived in Kenya in Africa and she worked to save trees in Kenya. Now asking you a little question over here, why are we reading this? Why do we need to read this? Why are we going to look into what Wangari Maathai did? It's because in this chapter, in this unit, we are talking about our green earth. How can we save our earth from pollution? How can we make it green again? How can we make it suitable for our living, healthier for our living? So, the story comprised of all the circumstances that we are going through right now, and what can we do to increase the circumstances, to increase the quality of life. So first of all, coming towards lesson objectives, we are going to read about a biography. We are going to discuss what is a biography. Then you will be able to write complete sentences and answer a few sentences in simple past tense. We will focus on our reading, our writing, and our skills of comprehending. So first of all, giving you a small idea about what is a biography and what is an autobiography. So if I cut this word auto from here and just come over here, bio and graphy, which I have written over here, divided in two parts. So the literal meaning of bio is life and graphy is printed or written. That means the story of life which is in printed or in written form is a biography. Got it? So a story of anyone's life which is either in written form, that is handwritten, or in printed form. Now what is autobiography? Autobiography is self life printed or written. Auto means self, bio means life, and graphy means printed or written. So if someone writes his own life, the experiences of his own life, the adventures, the personal history of his own life, then it is called an autobiography. For example, if I write about myself, about my life, the past years, my past experiences, so that is going to be an autobiography. But if I write about any famous personality, for example, Quaid-e-Azam, the biography of Allama Iqbal, biography of Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so what is that is going to be that is going to be a biography, not an biography. Okay? A biography. Now before coming towards your lesson, I would just rather share a small story, a cartoon story of Wangari Maathai, and I would request you to listen to that story very carefully.
A Tiny Seed. The Story of Wangari Maathai. Author Nicola Ridge-Dij. Illustrator Maya Marshak. In a village on...
Now this story is written by an author you have seen, what's the name, and it is illustrated by a lady whose name is Maya Marshak, and now she's telling you the story. Just listen to it very carefully.
The slopes of Mount Kenya in East Africa, a little girl worked in the fields with her mother. Her name was Wangari. Wangari loved being outside. In her family's food garden, she broke up the soil with her machete. She pressed tiny seeds into the warm earth. Her favorite time of day was just after sunset. When it got too dark to see the plants, Wangari knew it was time to go home. She would follow the narrow paths through the fields, crossing rivers as she went. Wangari was a clever child and couldn't wait to go to school. But her mother and father wanted her to stay and help them at home. When she was 7 years old, her big brother persuaded her parents to let her go to school. She liked to learn. Wangari learned more and more with every book she read. She did so well at school that she was invited to study in the United States of America. Wangari was excited. She wanted to know more about the world. At the American University, Wangari learned many new things. She studied plants and how they grow. And she remembered how she grew, playing games with her brothers in the shade of the trees in the beautiful Kenyan forests. The more she learned, the more she realized that she loved the people of Kenya. She wanted them to be happy and free. The more she learned, the more she remembered her African home. When she had finished her studies, she returned to Kenya. But her country had changed. Huge farms stretched across the land. Women had no wood to make cooking fires. The people were poor and the children were hungry. Wangari knew what to do. She taught the women how to plant trees from seeds. The women sold the trees and used the money to look after their families. The women were very happy. Wangari had helped them to feel powerful and strong. As time passed, the new trees grew into forests, and the rivers started flowing again. Wangari's message spread across Africa. Today, millions of trees have grown from Wangari's seeds. Wangari had worked hard. People all over the world took notice.
So here you can see the picture of Wangari Maathai. She's the woman and she's African who lived in Kenya.
And gave her a famous prize. It is called the Nobel Peace Prize, and she was the first African woman ever to receive it. Wangari died in 2011, but we can think of her every time we see a beautiful tree.
So that was all the biography of Wangari Maathai. Now we are going to read that is present in your text. Wangari Maathai, Mama Trees. Wangari Maathai was born in 1940 in a small village in Kenya. Green trees covered the land. Families grew food in small gardens. A little river brought clean water to the village. Women and children picked figs and other fruit from the trees. They used wood to make fires for cooking. Wangari loved her green and beautiful home. When Wangari grew old, she went away to school. She studied in United States and in Germany. Next page. When Wangari came back to Kenya, the land was very different. The family gardens had gone. The trees had gone. The sun had dried the earth. The wind had blown away the soil. The little river was dry. The people in Wangari's village now worked for a big company. They grew tea that was sold to people in other countries. Women and children walked a long way to get clean water and firewood. Now, do you see what happened? When Wangari left for her studies, the land was all green and there were trees, and every house had a small garden with them where they used to grow plants and vegetables and fruits. Now, after study, when she returned back, she saw that the land was totally different. The trees had cut down. The river was just all dried up. The soil was infertile, and why all that happened? Because a big company came over there which used to grow tea plants over there, and they cut all the trees. So the greenery, the water, the atmosphere, it all changed because of just cutting the trees. From this we get the message that planting the trees is very important to make the earth green and suitable for living. If we are going to cut the trees like we do, making the houses, making societies, if we are making big companies, the large industries, so for doing so, if we are cutting the trees, then we are damaging the earth. We have to be very careful. Now, I'm going to read. Wangari felt very sad. What could she do to help? An idea came to her mind. She would plant trees. Kenya could become green and beautiful again. Now, she was thinking to herself. Wangari took seeds from trees. She planted the seeds in her garden. She watched them and watered them. The seeds grew into little trees. Now Wangari gave the little trees to the women and children in her village. Together, they planted rows and rows of little trees. Every day, the women and children watered the trees. The trees grew. Soon there were figs and other fruits to eat. There was clean water in the little rivers. Now how all did that happen? Because of just planting the little trees. There was wood for fires to cook food. When we plant trees, we plant the seeds of peace and hope, said Wangari. People all over Africa planted trees. They wanted to do the same as Wangari. Millions of trees were planted. People named Wangari Mama Trees. So the title was given to her because she was looking after the trees as our mothers look after us. So people of Kenya and Africa, they give her the title, and that is Mama Trees. She became very famous. Little things make a big difference, said Wangari. My little thing is planting trees. Now she again gave you a message, and that is a very important message, that your little efforts, your little actions can make a big difference in others' life. So we have to always watch before we do anything. Okay? So our little actions, our little deeds can make a huge difference in other people's life. Now coming towards your exercise page, here you have to write true and false. I'm going to just leave it on you people, that you will just find out the answers and write, because we have read the story 2 times. Then coming towards your activity book page, you are going to identify the map and the countries on the map, and how did Wangari traveled from where and came back where. Okay, these are the places. So she was born. First of all, we are going to identify that this portion, which is just grayish portion, is USA. The middle one is Germany, and over here right one is Kenya. So she was born in Kenya, we all know that. Then she went to USA for further study, and from USA she went to Germany, and from Germany she came back to Kenya. So you're going to draw arrows like this. Now coming towards question number 2, these are jumbled words. Tree, the first word is tree. Second word is soil. Third, hole. Fourth, water. Now, this is an autobiography which you are going to write about yourself. Is it clear? You people are going to write about yourself. Auto means self-writing, self-life history. Okay? So they have asked a question if you are going to answer in the past tense. First of all, you will tell where were you born. This is the small portion I have told you about myself, but you are not going to copy it. You are going to write about your own self. I was born in Rawalpindi, and then I have to write these two sentences, that what happened to me when I was how much years old. When I was 6, I got my favorite toy in a gift, and that was a very interesting thing. So you have to write any two interesting things that happened in your life, and you remember that. I remember that because I became very happy on that day. When I was 7, a small puppy became my friend, a street puppy, whom I kept as my pet. So I'm talking about a puppy which I found on a street, and it became my friend, and I kept him as a pet, as my pet for many years at my home. Then in number 3 question, what you have to do, you have to tell anyone, you have to write that what would you like to be when you grow up. So I have given you choices that you like to be a doctor, a pilot, an engineer, or a chef, and you will draw the picture over your of the profession you want to be over here. Okay, I hope